So welcome to our first official transition to recovery class. And I wanted to put this class on because I am aware that we all are in different states of recovery and healing. And I felt it was important for those of you that are able to move to actually be able to do a bit of yoga asana, but in a way that's kind to your body and that acknowledges that you need to rest and pace, which even if we have fully functioning health is a message we need to carry on our lives with. We always need to rest and pace. But what I feel is important about this kind of yoga, and what I want to really help you to embody, is this need to listen to yourself and to honor how you're feeling. So it's not just about me giving you instructions. It's remembering we're all individuals, and that if you need to stop, slow down, or rest, that you do that, because many of us push, because we live in a society which encourages us to push. And that's not really good for our healing. We want to come out of the stress response. We want to come into the rest, digest, heal division of the body. And we can only do that if we honor our body and listen it. So remember, I'm just a guide to help you. If anything doesn't feel right, then please stop. Rest at any time. And also remember, you don't need to always look at your screen. Now, in the Monday class, I encourage you not to look at the screen at all, because we're not really doing any asana. Sometimes you might need to look at the screen, but for a lot of the time, it's nice to have your eyes closed and just to listen. And that helps you to come more inside and to move more instinctively, because it is all about becoming embodied and this kind of somatic awareness. Because once we develop somatic awareness, we can then begin to learn to be kinder to ourselves, knowing when to rest and when we need to maybe honor ourselves. So with all that said, we're going to start with a quick, I don't like to use the word quick actually in yoga, we're going to start with a check-in. So I'd like to invite you to come to a comfortable sitting or lying position. Because we're going to be doing some movement, we're just going to start with Shavasana first. And then if it's okay for you, have your eyes closed. And begin to internalize your senses. Begin to come inwards. Making friends with how you are now. Just observing any sensations in the physical body and allowing them to be. So observe your physical being. Maybe there's no sensation there, maybe there's a bit of anxiety or fatigue. Just see if you can embrace that and allow it. And if there is a sensation there, maybe just name it, but without judgment. So we're already developing this idea of bringing kindness to ourselves. And then observe how the mind is. Again, no judgment. And are there any emotions there? And if so, are they being felt physically in the body? And then just take a moment or two to become aware of your natural breathing rhythm. And just take some time to observe the difference between the inhalation and the exhalation. And now take your awareness just to the out breath. And then just to help to remind us of healthy functional breathing, one hand comes to the heart, the other to just below the belly button. And you're breathing into that lower hand through the nose if you can. And if you can't, that's fine for now. And just focus on the out breath, a long, smooth exhalation. And then releasing the hands. We're just going to use a breathing ratio. So for the next 5 breaths, I'd like you to count to slow count of 3 on the inhale and a slow count of 6 on the exhalation. Just focusing on breathing, if you can, through the nose, engaging the diaphragm. When you've taken your 5 breaths, come back to your normal breathing rate. But whenever you remember, just check in with the breath, keeping it slow and smooth and subtle through the nose from the diaphragm. And then coming back to body consciousness, we're going to just begin to wake the body up. So if you are lying, if you like to roll to one side and come up to sitting, and to help us with our posture and to help us with our breath, just going to do a little bit of movement around the heart center and the shoulders. So if you like, just take your fingertips to your shoulders. We're just going to inhale, lift the elbows, exhale and lower, bring the shoulder blades together. So just a few movements like this, just to loosen up the front of the chest. And then release. Take a moment or two to think about your posture, because when we're not well, or if we're anxious or depressed or tired, one of the first things that we lose is our posture. And ironically, this kind of keeps us in an illness loop, because we tend to collapse our chest, we bend down over our diaphragm. This affects the breathing, and then this makes us feel more ill and more depressed. So we just want to remind ourselves to open up the heart center, releasing the shoulders down. So become aware of the spine and think about the top of the head, the crown of the head, and the tailbone, and just visualize you're creating space between these 2 points. And then you want your ears to be over your shoulders, because for so many of us, including myself, we tend to look too much at screens or our phone, and then we kind of poke our head forward as we round. So we're just in our yoga practice reminding ourselves to open up the heart, release the shoulders, chin is tucked into the top of the chest, the sternum, but we're not straining. So although we might feel the ribs lift and the vertebrae open, there's a sense of alertness but no strain. In yoga, this is known as sthira sukham, alertness but a sweetness in the posture, but no tension. And then just soften around the jaw. Now, this is often called the tightest joint in the body. So you might like to take your index fingers and just massage around your jaw. And just dropping the mouth slightly. And then you might like to take your hands and cross them over the shoulders and just massage your fingers into the shoulders, because again, these can get very tight. And then releasing. And again, just have this sense of the front of the body opening. And be aware if you have been kind of closing the heart, hunching the body, just be aware of, in this practice, allowing yourself to open. Now, I'm talking about opening the front of the body. If we've been ill for a long time, maybe our muscles are beginning to atrophy a little in our back. So we're going to look at that in the next sequence. So we're going to do some very gentle standing work. If you would rather lie down and visualize the postures, please do. And at any time you need to stop and rest, please do. That's more important than anything. So if you would like, I'm going to invite you to come to a standing position. And don't be afraid, I'm not going to do anything too scary or dynamic. It's amazing how many people get afraid of the word yoga because they think it's pretzel-shaped gymnastics. But actually, we always say that the subtle practices are the most beneficial. So we were just doing a bit of posture work from sitting. We're going to do this from standing now. So have your feet hip width apart and look down at your feet to check that you've not kind of taken one foot out or in too much. So you want to have your feet parallel and spread your toes. And then just sway forward over the toes and back over the heels. Until you find that center point of balance. Because again, when we consider our posture, very often we have our balance too far forward over the toes or too far back. So bring yourself back to center, because as we center the posture, we center ourselves as well. And have the knees soft. And I'd like you now to think about your pelvis area. Take one hand and place it on the pelvis, and the other hand and place it on the lower back. And we're just going to swing the pelvis forward and back, again until we get that nice point of balance where the lower back's not feeling too tense. Because particularly for women, many of us throw our pelvis too far forward, maybe because we've been wearing high heels, we've had children, and we need to just remind, and this puts a lot of strain on the lower back, you can feel it as you move there. So we just need to remind ourselves to come back to neutral, because this really helps the lower back to release. And then release your arms. And now think about your lower ribs and have them spacious. So we're not kind of coming down on the rib cage, we're opening up the lower ribs. And then this sensation of lifting the heart, shoulders relaxed and away from the ears. And then just to help with our core, on every exhalation, just gently take the navel to your spine, maybe just for 5 or 10 breaths. We don't want to overdo it at this stage, but we're just reminding ourselves of our core and where our tummy muscles are. So inhale, exhale, slight contraction into the back of the spine. Inhale, exhale, 5 to 10 breaths like that. And then release that now, but throughout the practice, if you want to do that on the out breath, you're welcome to, but don't overdo it. It's just beginning to waken up our core muscles, our abdominal muscles. What I'd like you to do now is visualize roots going down through your feet into the earth, below. And as you breathe in, you're going to breathe in nourishment up those roots, up your feet, up your legs, into your body. And then as you exhale, let that exhale come down, taking away anything you want to release into the earth. So inhaling nourishment from those roots up into your body. You can take it to your heart or your head. And then exhaling down, out through the feet, out down the roots. And then releasing the breath. We're going to get ready for some movement now. So I'd like you to become aware of the right arm. Inhale the right arm up and just open up that right side of the body, and exhale the right arm down. Slowly with the breath, inhale the left arm up, open up the left side of the body, exhale the left arm down. And do that 5 times on each side in your own breathing rhythm, keeping the breath slow and smooth. We're just waking up the body, moving and stretching. Three to 5 times. You don't have to do as many repetitions as I'm saying. If you just want to do it once and that's enough for you, that's fine. And then when you've moved an even number of time on both sides, come back to your samastiti, which is the posture we started with. And then we're going to interlock the fingers. We're going to turn the palms down to the floor. We're going to inhale and lift the arms up above the head. And we're gently going to bend to the left, or if you're mirroring me, it will be the right. And then inhale, come back to center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale, come back to the center. And just do that 2 or 3 times to each side, but keep listening in and honoring your energy levels. And when you've done that an even number of times to both sides, just shake out the arms, shake them out. And then take the hands and place them on the waist. We're just going to move the hips now. So as we do this, think about the pelvic area. So the rest of the body is relatively still. So we're going to hula hoop the hips around. So we're keeping, the knees are moving, the upper body, so we're not kind of moving the whole body. It's just, if you can isolate the hip area, might help if you look at your screen to see that this area is moving. So we're just circling through the pelvis. Because again, this is all the area that gets so stuck. This is Swadhisthana chakra, our power center. It's also obviously related to the lower back. So we just want to really loosen this up. And then we can take that in the opposite direction. And then come back to center, relax the arms, close your eyes and just check in. Have a rest in standing Shavasana, just observing how you're feeling now. How's your energy? How's your breath? And if the mind wanders, Just keep focused on the out breath or the pause after the out breath. And then we're going to do some forward bends, but we're going to do it with, it's actually, I was taught this and it was called the wood chopper breath. So it's breathing and going forward. But what I'd like you to do is to keep your knees soft for this. So for this, look at the screen and just look at me. So I'm going to inhale my arms up, feet are apart. Exhale, I'm breathing out through the mouth, whoosh, and then let the arms flop. Inhale up, and then exhale all that stale air out. Whoosh. So 3 or 4 times, whatever feels right for you. Inhale up, exhale, and blow all the air out. So just do as many times as feels right for you, but really feel you're letting go on that out breath. And when you finish, come back to Samastiti. Close your eyes, check in with the breath. And we're going to do one more asana from standing. So this is the tree posture or rikshasana. So when I teach the tree posture, 2 things. Firstly, I always explain it's really important for us every day, if we can, to do a balanced posture. Because as we get older, it affects our central nervous system. And obviously it prevents things like falling and other things which can cause us problems. But it actually helps to balance the central nervous system. But the other thing is to have some support nearby you so you're not going to fall. So I'm going to have my hand on my wall here. If you've got a wall or a table or a chair, don't be afraid to use it. Remember, you're not in competition with anyone here, not even yourself. It's okay to use support. And be near enough so that you don't have to kind of lean in if you feel yourself falling. And then again, have this nice balanced posture, feet under the hips. And all we're going to do to start is to lift the right foot over the left. And that might be enough for you today. Just bring the hands to Namaste at the heart. And if that's enough for you, you stay there. If you want to go into the next stage of the posture, then you're going to take this right foot and lift it onto the inner left thigh, not the knee, because you don't want to put pressure on the knee. And then you're opening the hip out to the side. Now you can either keep holding onto your support, or you can bring the hands together, keeping your gaze fixed on a point on the wall or the floor, because keeping your gaze fixed helps with the balance. And again, if this is enough for you, then don't go any further. But if you want to do the full asana, you take the hands up and over the head. Let the mind be still. And when you want to come out of your balance, see if you can come out with the same control you came into it, so you're not falling out of it. So each stage, slowly. And remember, if you can't do the full posture, it doesn't matter. It's something to work towards. And then we'll take that to the other side. So I'm going to turn around. Again, come to your support. Have your feet under your hips. Think about your balance. And all you're doing is now taking your right foot over your left. Hands to Namaste. And then if you want to go into the second phase of the posture, you take the foot onto the inner right thigh. Find a spot to gaze at to help you balance. Remember, you can put your hand on your support anytime. And if you want to go into the full posture, Keep breathing, keep the mind steady, keep your gaze fixed. And we're going to hold this about the same time on each side, so we're keeping ourselves balanced. That knee is opening out to the side to open the hip. And again, as you come out of the posture, come out with the same sense of control as you came into it. Mindfulness. And then coming back to your mat, I'm going to invite you now to come to a brief lying down. We're going to have a rest before we do our next sequence, which will be from kneeling. So come to Shavasana, if that's comfortable for you. Maybe having something under your head or your knees. If you're in the full Shavasana, your arms are comfortably away from the body with the palms up and the legs are apart, or you might like to have your knees bent. Eyes closed. And just let your awareness drift around your body and observe how you're feeling now. No judgment. Compassion. Knowing this is your time and you deserve this time for you. And if the mind wanders, bring it back to focus on the journey of the exhalation. Feel every exhalation relaxing you as you let go more and more on the out breath. And then when you are ready, just begin to wriggle your fingers and your toes. And I'd like to invite you to roll to one side and stay there for a moment or two. And then when you're ready, please come up into a cat or a tabletop posture. So we're going to do some movement from cat, Chakravakasana, it's called in Sanskrit. But if you've got bad knees or you find it difficult in cat, you can actually modify this and do this from a chair. So you decide how you would like to be. And if you need to put padding or anything under your knees, please do so. But you've got your hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips, and your fingers are spread. And just think about that connection of the palms of the hands and the knees and the tops of the feet, grounding you into the earth. And that space, that lovely sense of space between the crown of the head and the tailbone. And then we're just going to start with some cat postures. So inhale and lift the heart. Don't take the head too high. Exhale, navel to spine as you round the back, dropping the head. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, navel to spine. So just a few movements like this. And then come back to a neutral cat posture. And then we're going to start to move our arms and our legs, which is really good for strengthening the back. It's one of the best postures I know for helping with just to get the back a bit more toned. So we're going to start by just taking the right arm up in front of us. Keep the balance so you're not tilting to the left. Look down at the floor so the back of the neck is lengthened. Palm is facing in. Take a few breaths here and then bring that right hand back. And then just try that to the left. So lift the left hand up, look down at the mat to keep the back of the neck long. Palm facing in. And then bring the hand down. We're going to try that with each leg now, and then we're going to combine arms and legs. So become aware of your right leg and take your right leg up and out. Toes facing down, so the foot's slightly flexed in, pushing away with the back of the heel, and keep the weight even over the pelvis so you're not tilting to the left. Take a few breaths here, keep the leg lifted in line with the pelvis. And then bending the knee, come back to the center, to neutral cat. And then to the left. Again, try not to tilt too much to the right. Keep the pelvis as centered as you can. And then when you're ready, bring the knee back. We'll just have a few resting breaths if it's comfortable for you in child pose. So bring your bottom back towards the heels. And if it won't go all the way back, you can place a block or a cushion under your hips. You can make two fists if you like. Knees are apart, and rest your forehead on your fists or on the floor, depending how flexible you are. And if you don't like child pose, then do rest on your back. And then when you're ready, come back to your neutral cat. And we're just going to combine the arms and the legs now. But remember what I said at the beginning of the class. Remember to pace. If you're now tired and you want to rest out, that's going to be of more benefit to you. So always do what is most nourishing for you. And if that's rest, then rest. Otherwise, take your right arm out in front, parallel to the shoulder, and the left leg back, pushing away with the sole of the foot. Look down at the mat and take some breaths here. Coming out anytime. If that left arm starts to shake or it feels too much, come out. And then when you're ready, take the palm down, then the knee down, come back to neutral cat, just adjust yourself. And then we'll take that to the other side. So we're going to take the left arm up, parallel to the shoulder, right leg back, pushing away with the sole of the foot, leg in line with the hip. Take some breaths. And anytime you want to come out, that might feel quite strong on the supporting hand, come out and don't push yourself because you don't want to have PEM, post-exertion malaise. It's really important to rest. So again, we're going to rest in child's pose, in your version that's comfortable.
Take some resting breath into the back. Feel yourself breathing into your back. Let the back relax.
And now, I'm going to give you an option. You can either remain into child's pose, or if you feel you've got the energy, I'm going to put a down face dog in because it is good for your back. And I know many of you like it because it's such a lovely stretch, but it's also quite dynamic. So remember to not go with what the ego wants, which is to push and achieve, but to really listen to your heart. What would be best for you? Would it be to continue in child pose or lie on your back or to do down face dog? So really think about what will be in your best interest. And then if you would like to do a down face dog, come back into your cat pose. So hands are under the shoulders, knees are under hips. And then take your hands one hand space forward and tuck your toes under. And we do this with the breath. So we take an in-breath. And on the exhalation, lift the hips to come up. Keep on your toes, lift the heels. And just keep looking at your knees, working your chest towards your thighs. And at any time you want to come out, you come out on an inhalation, taking the knees down to the mat and then coming back into child's pose. And then I'm going to ask everybody to come to rest on your front. So when we rest on our front, prone, there's two ways. You can either take your head to one side, cheek to one side, arms either side of the body, or you can bend your elbows and rest your forehead on the back of your hands. So just take some resting breaths here. And visualize that you're breathing into your back. You've got all this lung area around the back, so this is a fantastic opportunity to use it. And on the inhalation, just feel that gentle pressure of the belly against your support. So remember, the way we avoid PEM or post-exertion malaise is to listen into the body. So we stop before we've done too much. And obviously, exertion means physical exertion, but of course that also applies to emotional and mental stimulation, because any of those can have a knock-on effect on our mitochondria, our prana. But we can only tell when we need to rest when we're really paying attention and listening in. And this is this somatic awareness, which is why it's so important in yoga to use this opportunity to observe how you feel and not to be guided by me as the external authority, but to use your own authority, your own empowerment as the guide. So taking rest at any time, always doing what is in your highest good, what will be of benefit. So now the next asana posture we're going to do, if you would like, and if you feel you're okay with it, we're going to do Cobra, Bhujangasana. So again, this is very good for strengthening the back. We're only going to go a little way with it. So for now, bring your forehead to your mat and take your hands so that your palms are next to your shoulders. Keep your elbows in. And then your toes are together with the heels falling apart. And become aware of your lower back. We don't want to come up too high because we don't want to strain the lower back. We're just going to take a gentle in-breath and drawing the nose across the mat. We're going to lift up, keeping the pelvis and the lower abdomen on the mat, the elbows in, and we're using the back muscles to lift, not the palms of the hands. You could even lift the palms of the hands off the mat, realizing you're engaging the lower back muscles, and then bring the palms back and come out on an exhalation and rest. And that might be enough for you, or you might like to take yourself through that again. So inhale, draw the nose along the mat, come up, keep the back of the neck long, elbows in, not too much pressure on the palms, lower abdomen connecting with your support, shoulders released. Take a couple of breaths and come out on an exhalation and rest. And then either continue to rest, or if you feel you have the energy, you might like to take yourself through that again. But remember the no pushing rule. Do less rather than more than you think you can. And then we're going to do one more sequence for our backs. But again, only if you feel that you have the energy still. So when you're ready, have your arms alongside the body and the chin on the mat. And then make fists and place your fists under your groin, under your hip bones. Become aware of the right leg, keeping that a connection with your hips and your fists. Inhale and lift the right leg. Doesn't have to be too high. Take a couple of breaths. Exhale and lower. Inhale, lift the left leg. Take a couple of breaths. Exhale and lower. And if that's enough for you, rest out now, or you can do that once more to either side. And then when you're ready, we're going to take the palms of the hands towards the waist, just below the chest, if you can reach that far. Now, this is going to be quite strong on your arms, so not all of you will be able to do this, but it will help tone up the arms. So we're going to push on the palms of the hands to bring the hips back towards the heels. And then we'll come up to sitting. And then we're going to take the legs out to the front and come to lie on our backs. And then we're going to take one knee, then the other over the belly. And just rock out the spine from side to side. And then leaving the knees over the belly, drop the hands beside you. Again, if this next sequence is too much, rest out. We're going to inhale and gently lift the legs up. You can keep the knees bent if you want. If you want a more dynamic stretch, flex the feet, otherwise leave the feet soft. On the exhalation, bend the knees back in. And if that's enough for you, rest with the knees over the belly. Otherwise, you can just stretch the legs out once or twice more. And then take one hand to each knee when the knees next come down to the belly. And we're just going to open up the back vertebra, the lower back, by working into Apanasana. So working with the breath, we breathe in to let the knees move away from us, so the elbows straighten. And as we breathe out, the knees move in towards us, into the belly. Inhaling, knees move away from us, elbows straighten. Exhale, knees come in. And if you can't reach your knees, you can place your hands under the knees. So just experiment with what feels right for you. And then come back to just pause with the hands over the knees or below the knees. And then we're going to circle the knees apart, just to work into the hips. Again, using the breath if we can. So we're breathing in as the knees move away from us and as they open up, and out as they come in towards us and back together. Just feeling that lovely flexible movement in the hips. Do that a few times in one direction and then circle in the opposite direction. And then when you're ready, drop your feet to your mat. Bring the soles of the feet together and just let the knees drop out towards the side. And if you want to place cushions or anything under your thighs, you're welcome to. And then either rest the hands on the belly, relaxing the lower back, or if you want a more dynamic stretch, you can open up the ribs by bringing the hands together or above you. It can feel quite comforting to rest them on the belly, but it is also quite nice to have the hands above your head just to open up the front of the body. Take a few resting breaths here, feeling on every exhalation, the hips releasing more, relaxing, breathing into the groin. And then when you're ready, lift one knee, then the other, and massage into the groin. Take the arms out like a cross with the palms turned up, just below shoulder level. Have the feet about hip width apart. And we're just going to take a couple of gentle twists to the left. Head looks over the right shoulder. Inhale, head and knees to center. Knees to the right, head goes to the left shoulder. Inhale, center. So in your own breathing rhythm, just moving smoothly with the breath. Knees and head in opposite direction. Shoulders keeping contact with the floor. And then when you're ready, inhale, center the knees and the head. Again, draw one knee, then the other into the belly and just rock out the spine. And then take yourself, stretch your legs out or keep them bent, ready for the final relaxation. So in the classic Shavasana relaxation posture, arms are away from the body, fingers curling, and the legs are straight with the feet wide apart. But if you're more comfortable resting the hands on the belly or having the knees bent, please do so. And we're going to rest for about 5 minutes. So if you want to place a block under your head or a blanket over you, please do so. So just tune into the body, relaxing the feet, relaxing the legs, releasing around the pelvis and the lower back. Feel the back supported by the earth so that you can fully let go as you are being held and cradled by the earth. Releasing around the shoulders. If you want to, you can just wriggle the shoulders, maybe away from your ears, or draw the shoulder blades together. And then relaxing the arms and the hands. Relaxing around the front of the body, the heart area and the belly. Releasing the jaw, the face softening. The scalp softening and the back of the neck releasing. And just become aware of the breath and visualize on the inhalation you are breathing in light, prana. And on the out breath, send this healing light, this prana, to wherever you feel you need it today. Just directing healing prana around the body, the mind, the emotions, the spirit, wherever you feel in need of nourishment. Just visualize prana. And then releasing that visualization, become aware just of the exhalation. Just follow the journey of the exhalation for a few breaths. And then feel yourself deeply relaxing, letting go and releasing on that out breath. Anything you no longer want to hold on to, just allow it to release. And now become aware of the still point after the exhalation, before the breath naturally arises into the inhale. And drop into that silence after the exhalation, feeling it deeply healing and nourishing you. And feel yourself surrounded by a bubble of silence. Now, if you like, you can continue to rest, feeling that silence nourishing you. Otherwise, just begin to come back to body consciousness, feeling your shape on your supports, being aware of your surroundings, even though your eyes are closed, being aware of your position in your space, and then beginning maybe to make small movements with the fingers and the toes. And maybe some bigger movements, maybe stretching or drawing the knees in and rocking, whatever feels right for you. Listen to what your body wants. And then when you're ready, rolling to one side, staying there for a moment or two, and then coming up to a comfortable sitting position. So thank you all so much for being here. As this is our first transition to recovery class, I'd really welcome some feedback how the pace was for you. Although I know we are all different, but I hope you managed to also stop and rest when you needed to. And particularly if you're on Facebook, that's quite a good place to put your feedback. But I hope you enjoyed it. And I wish you a lovely, peaceful week ahead. And we're going to finish the class with the chants for peace, Om Shanti Shanti. So I'll chant it, and if you know it, it would be lovely if you would join in with me. So we take our hands to Namaste at the heart. Thank you, Tracy. So taking a deep inhalation. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we just take a bow to our heart. Namaste, the light in me greets the light that is always in you. Have a peaceful week. Stay away from the news. Stay away from fear. Stay in peace. Lots of love to you all. Thank you. Take care, everybody.